Hi, I'm Jenny. Thank you for being here. This channel is for wedding cake makers who want to be better at being business owners. So, thanks again for being here. We are starting a new series. It is going to be weekly wedding cake business tips. So, every week I'm going to come on and give you a short little tip that you can apply to your business right away. So, again, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, so our tip for this week, we're going to talk about setting goals for 2026. It's the end of the year. A lot of you are winding down from holiday orders. I still have a New Year's Eve wedding coming up, but for the most part, things are slowing down. We're in booking season right now, so we're starting to get inquiries, rolling in, and I want to be prepared for that. But what I really want to do, like I said, end of year, is set some goals for 2026. But the tip for this week is going to be, before you set those goals for 2026, I really want you to go back and reflect on 2025. And it's easy to say, like, oh yeah, 2025 was this, and we were busy and we were slammed and whatever. But no, I really want you to face the facts and really be honest with yourself and see what worked and what didn't work. So I want you to take out a notebook. If you're a pen to paper person, I am. I love to sit in my little corner of my couch. I call it my nest, the little corner of my couch with my blanket and my corgi and my coffee, and sit there and with my notebook and make a list of what worked and what didn't. And you can, use your computer, your phone, whatever you want. But I do want you to write it down, because when you write things down, it'll give you more clarity when you see it visually. Okay, so when you're reflecting on 2025, I want you to think about the internal things. I'm not talking about blaming the economy or blaming, clients or venues or whatever, anything like that, or the industry. I really want you to look at the decisions that you made in 2025 and see what worked and what didn't. Okay, so think about the things that were the most profitable, that were the most enjoyable. If you had jobs that you didn't like, how do you eliminate that for next year? If you had places that you didn't like to work at, or if you have places that you did love to work at and you want to work out more, make a list of all of those things. If you feel like you were resentful towards certain jobs that you had, so for instance, if someone placed an order that maybe they were picking up and they didn't pick it up on time, or you feel like you spent way too much money or time on that order, make a note of those things, and make a note of the things that really filled your soul. If you had designs that you came up with that really made you happy and you felt that you want to do more of that work, write that down and make that a goal for the next year. So I really want you to be honest with yourself, because again, it's so easy for us to be like, oh, this year was off because of the economy, or this year everyone's afraid to spend money, or you know what, I've been through two recessions and a pandemic. There's always enough money to have weddings. People have weddings all the time. It never ends. So this is a time to really, like I said, be honest with yourself. If you think that you are maybe working in chaos and working disorganized and wasting time running back and forth, this is one of the things that I do. Is I love making lists and making notes. So I'll make a list in the morning, every morning, but I'll leave it at home, or I won't even look at it. And then it's like, well, what'd you make the list for, idiot? So that's one of my goals for this year. And one of the things that did not work for me last year is that I would be rushing out of the house trying to do too many things, and I would leave my list at home. So then I would have to, to spend a half an hour going back at the store, or placing another order, or running out of something. And that is nothing more annoying than being in your kitchen making a cake and you realize you don't have one of the ingredients. Okay, so that is just an example of one of the things that I'm going to do, and that's one of the things that did not work for me this year that I used to be so good at. So really write those things down. Think of everything that you can think of, every little job that you can think of that really made you happy and you want to do more. Put that. You can do columns and do, like, good and bad or whatever, however you want to make your list. But really make a list of everything that you can think of that worked for you, that didn't work for you, and then you can make your goals for 2026. So for instance, if I'm not reflecting on 2025 and I go into 2026 saying, okay, I want to do 20 more weddings this year, Well, if I'm not going to change anything, if I'm not aware of anything that didn't work, and if I'm not going to change anything, it's going to be harder for me to achieve that goal. So when you're taking the time to take this extra step, and it sounds so silly, but people don't do that. People just go into 2026 like, oh, I'm going to set all these intentions for the next year, but they're not looking at what didn't work. So that's why I'm saying it. Kind of it sounds like I'm stating the obvious, but a lot of people don't do it. So make your list, be honest with yourself, uh, be honest about the decisions that you made, the good ones and the bad ones. Think about what you made money on, think about what filled your soul, think about what made you resentful, think about the things that made you run late. I hate when people make me run late or some other outside force makes me late. So think about all those things, make a list, and then set your intentions for 2026, and you'll have a lot more clarity going in. And then when you start making decisions for 2026, or the first quarter, the first month, or however you want to set those goals, you'll have a lot more clarity, and you'll be like, oh, okay, well, if I do want to book more weddings, maybe I need to do more networking because I didn't do enough of that last year. Okay, so that is my tip for this week. Write your list, put it on paper or put it somewhere where you can see it and go back to it, and then write your goals for 2026. So if you have any amazing intentions that you have for 2026, I'd love to see it. Put it in the comments. And if you do want more help with your business, stay tuned to this channel. I'm going to have a lot more business tips and a lot more resources coming up. So again, thanks for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.